For more, let's bring in North Carolina Congressman and Pastor Mark Harris. Congressman, is what the Congresswoman said true?
Well, I've not been in any of those situations that she described. Now, again, I'm a freshman congressman. I've been there pretty much most of this year. I've not seen a lot of those types of things that were described. What I see is a unified conference that recognizes that the America First agenda is what we were sent there to do, and we're working to continue to move that agenda forward. And so that's pretty much what I've seen in my time there so far.
Well, Congressman, speaking of the agenda, let's go to this headline here to show what's really happening, or what we think is happening. We don't know what's happening in Washington. That's the truth of the matter. Republicans divided over whether to salvage Obamacare or replace it ahead of the subsidy deadline. So what's your take here? Because some say the law is not going to go away anytime soon. Are Republicans divided on health care, and what's the road forward?
Well, I would say we're divided on health care. I would say that there's a lot of different ideas that are out there floating. And last week, the speaker indicated that early this week, we're going to see something that we're going to be able to really get the conversation going in a strong way. I think when you think about the subsidies, you've got to remember those subsidies were a COVID era. They were pandemic subsidies. No Republican has ever voted for us to continue or think about those subsidies. In fact, when you think about the American people, they recognize the pandemic is over. And the last poll I saw showed that 60.5% of the American people felt like those subsidies of the COVID era policy needed to end. So I think there's going to be a lot of conversation, a lot of ideas this week that are going to be talked about, such as how we're going to improve upon and make changes to Obamacare, because it's obviously failed. We knew it was. When it's something that has to be propped up by government money over and over and over again, you got something that is not going to work. It's going to cost the American people $400 billion over the next 10 years if we were to vote to continue these subsidies. So I think that people recognize it. I think we're coming to the end of the year, and we're going to be looking at these ideas like putting the power in the hands of the people. The president already spoke about it. We've got to quit sending the money to the insurance companies who are continuing to get wealthy off of these COVID-era policies.
Congressman, that's the Charlotte skyline behind you, if I'm not mistaken. So let's just have a conversation about that. You took to X the other day writing, "Meet the illegal alien charged with stabbing someone on a Charlotte light rail last night." The guy we're looking at here, this is Oscar Solorzano. He's previously deported and then returned to the country illegally. He, of course, is now charged with attempted murder. Is it about time to bring the National Guard to Charlotte, to the Queen City?
Well, Terrence, thank you so much for the question. Of course, we made that request some time ago of the governor that he bring the National Guard in so that it would help deal with the fact that we were 273 or 75 policemen short of being able to adequately police the city. The National Guard would be able to provide that support so that the police can do the things that they need to do. All of the public is crying out that something's got to happen with our light rail as far as security is concerned. This is now the second stabbing. This one, fortunately, was an attempted murder rather than an actual murder when we lost Irina Zarutska just a few months ago. But thank God there was a good Samaritan that stepped in while this man was screaming at an elderly man, as I understand, and really almost like a strong-armed robbery. This good Samaritan stepped in. Unfortunately, he got stabbed. But look at this illegal alien not having been deported once, but deported twice, and came back in, and I think was under a got-away category. And then when our elected leaders here in Washington or in Charlotte were concerned about the presence of the Border Patrol and ICE and the work that they're doing, that's absolutely ludicrous. It's people like this guy that they were looking for, and I wish they would have been able to get him before this went down. So we've got to continue as elected leaders to talk positively about law enforcement and the job that they're doing, and even about, as we were talking about, Operation Charlotte's Web. That was a critical operation, and I only wish they would have been able to get this guy before this went down on the train.
Congressman Harris, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having
Thanks,
me.
Congressman.
Thank you.